It may not look like it when he stands there simpering from the podium, but nobody hates their job more than Mike Johnson. The sanctimonious and overly unctuous Johnson had himself a Monday meltdown today when he was forced by the press to comment on the now famous Trump poop video. I'm going to show that video of Johnson defending Trump and then collapsing into a meltdown. But first, let's take a quick review of what Johnson was forced to defend. Trump posted an AI video to his social media account. Need I say more? The rage poster in chief has all of a sudden discovered the delights of being a troll instead. So now, instead of raging, Trump has turned to taunting. Keep in mind, I'm talking about the person who currently holds the presidency of the United States. And so if you're one of those people who constantly asks, how much lower can this pathetic loser go? Well, this next video will show you. But now keep in mind, it will be Johnson's job to defend this behavior. Here's Trump's AI, which caused all this controversy to begin with. It's not even worth mentioning that if any other president did this, they would no longer be president. And that's the even bigger problem, is the media's constant efforts to sane wash this president. The New York Times led the parade with an article called "Trump Posts Fake Video of Himself Flying a King Trump Jet Over Protesters." So now this reporter, Jenny Gross, and I'm not touching that name with a 10-foot pole, the reporter went on to write, President Trump shared what appeared to be an AI-generated video on social media. It shows Mr. Trump wearing a crown and flying a jet that dumps brown liquid on demonstrators. Brown liquid? You really have to ask what the necessity is in sanitizing what this insane president does. What is the agenda here? And that's not just anyone that Trump dumps his dump on. It's progressive activist Harry Sisson, who posted this in response. Can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted an AI video of himself dropping poop on me from a fighter jet? That would be great. Thanks. Well, a reporter at least asked super Christian and porn monitoring Mike Johnson about it, and this is what Johnson had to say. Now, before I show it, just remember, Johnson is the absolute champion of having not heard that, or not seen that, or other such denials. Well, today he tried to defend Trump head on. Here's what he said, and then watch him melt down.
The president uses social media to make a point. You can argue he's probably the most effective person who's ever used social media for that. He is using satire to make a point. He is not calling for the murder of his political opponents, and that's what these people are doing. I mean, they're in one of these photos. I think there's a picture of the president hanging in effigy by a noose on one of these. The one on the far end. I mean, it's unconscionable. Look, America is built on the idea of free speech. You have the right to protest. Of course, we jealously guard that. I mean, Chip and I are attorneys. We've defended that right in the courts. But what they're doing right now is different. They are trying to incite violence. It's not funny. You don't mock a president who has already had 2 failed assassination attempts on his life. This is not a game. And the idea that communists would be supporting this is unconscionable to us. Look, when we give tours of the House chamber and we bring in constituents and we point out all the historical facts and images around the building, I always start with "In God We Trust," which of course is right above the rostrum of the speaker's podium. And if you look in the visitor's guide to the House chamber, it says on page 14, when was that put there? Well, it's put there in the early 60s, 1961, as I recall. And it says in the guide that it was put there, Congress voted to put that there as a rebuke to the Cold War era Soviets. Why? Because their philosophy, that's what it says, a rebuke to their philosophy. Their philosophy was Marxism. Marxism begins with the premise that there is no God. It is antithetical to who we are as Americans.
Really scary stuff? I'll tell you what's really scary. Claiming that over 7 million protesters were advocating violence because you can find 4 lame examples of hyperbolic posters. Newsflash, Mike, 8647 is not advocating violence, it's advocating for you to do your job. And the other scary thing is Johnson going back to the 1950s Red Scare tactics to try and defend Trump. Here's another newsflash, you sanctimonious twat. Marxism does not begin with the premise that there is no God. Marxism begins with the premise that if you analyze a society's economic mode of production, you'll be able to delineate its distribution of power and how a system of ideas will be constructed to defend and naturalize that distribution of power and its economic system. Oh, and one other thing, Mr. Christian. Jesus was a communist. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.